Hi, I'm Coach Corey Wayne, and this is my video coaching newsletter. And the topic of today's newsletter is going to be my ex came back, but I'm getting mixed signals from her. Well, I've got an email from this particular guy. He was with his ex girlfriend for 6.5 years, and he got dumped in October of 2022, which was about 4.5, 5 months ago at this point, until he since had heard from her in February. And he says what basically happened is he stopped dating and courting her. He got complacent. And he says originally he had read my book many years ago, but along the way, he got lazy, got caught up in life, got complacent. And it wasn't until she dumped him that he recognized things had gone sideways and he completely gotten away from what he originally learned. So she reached out in February to say, hey, I'm dropping off some chairs and your key. And he hadn't heard from her in like 4.5, 5 months at that time. And then she just never, and then he tried to set a date. She just completely ignored that. And then a month later, she reached out. He invited her over. She came over. They hung out. And so they didn't hook up, but they did fool around. There was some kissy poo. And he says it was like there was no time had elapsed. It's like she came over and it's like we were still together. So now he's wondering what to do next because he says he's getting mixed signals from her. So what I like about this email is this is typical of the majority of the guys that have come to me. Most of the time they haven't read my book, and this particular guy read it, had success, got his girlfriend, and then just got lazy, got complacent, and then without realizing it, slowly over time, he completely got away from the principles of the book that made him successful in the first place. And so guys that are in this situation, typically their girls don't feel heard and understood. But in this particular case, it's obvious that he just stopped dating and courting her and neglected her. He got busy, got caught up at work, and just stopped making the effort to make her feel like he cared for her. And then eventually she broke it off because she didn't feel cared for. She probably complained about it for a long time, and he just did nothing. And like a lot of guys, he's like, well, I didn't think she meant it. I didn't think she was serious, is typically the response. So what you're seeing here is what happens when a woman starts to come back, because a lot of guys, that's what they want. They do something similar, or they had a girl that really liked them that they were dating, and they over-pursued, they acted needy, they got upset, they got perturbed. Bottom line is they turned her off to the point where she didn't want anything to do with him anymore. And so time elapses, and then she starts coming back. And so it's like, how do you facilitate that and getting to the point where it's her idea to spend time with you? So he says, Dear Coach, first off, I'd like to say thank you for all you do. Your work has had a profound impact on my life. I have a partial success story and some unusual behavior from an ex I think would be a great learning experience for your viewers. By applying the principles in your book, I was able to attract a girl I viewed as a 10 and dated her for 6.5 years. We lived together for 2.5. He says, we ended up breaking up in October of 2022 due to me working a very demanding job and getting complacent, amongst other issues that came as a result of my lack of time and energy towards a relationship. If you don't date and court your wife, eventually some other guy will. There's a chapter in the book that says a courtship never ends. And unfortunately, in his case, he allowed the courtship to end because he made his job a priority and neglected her. And that will happen with pretty much any woman. If you ignore them long enough and you get focused on work and you don't ever date, you don't make them feel heard and understood, eventually they're going to realize based upon your actions that you're not showing up and you don't care no matter what you say, then eventually they leave. Every woman has a breaking point. When she told me she wanted to break things off, I told her that I loved her, and this is certainly not what I wanted, but I understood and respected her decision and told her to reach out if she changed her mind. Obviously, there was a lot of emotion on both sides given the length of the relationship, but it was about as amicable as it could have been. I immediately deployed the no contact rule and did not reach out to her at all. Yeah, this is a guy, she's probably complaining about the same thing over and over. And that's one of the things when I'm doing a phone session with the guys. I was like, well, what did your girlfriend, what did your wife, what was she complaining about most? What did you hear over and over? And that's usually a good indicator that helps me as a coach figure out what they were not doing properly. He says, fast forward to February 2023, and I received a text message from her saying, hope you're doing well. I just dropped off beach chairs and a key to your door. He says, I found this a little odd as she did not say she was stopping by. I was not home. So, as the book and your videos say, I assumed her reaching out to me was her wanting to see me. He says, I responded with, thanks for doing that. I appreciate it. It's great to hear from you. I'd love to see you and catch up sometime. When are you free to get together? She did not answer this text, at least initially. Well, at least that time, typically if she's dropping things by like that, usually it's like the end of it. Or she may have held on to all those things and dropped them by to see what your response was. If you hadn't heard from her in 4 or 5 months, she was probably dating somebody else, but it wasn't looking like it was going to go anywhere. So that's why she's, oh, I got to drop your chairs and your key by after 4.5, 5 months of not hearing from her. So you gave her the validation that she wanted, and she recognized, wow, he'll still want to see me. Then she probably went and got refocused on whoever it was she was talking to or dating, and then it didn't work out, because what happens next? He says, another month later, I get a text from her on Sunday saying, hey, are you home? And I said, no, I'm not, and I won't be until later tonight. And she said, okay, no problem, and never explained what it was about. 3 days later, I get a text from her, specifically responding to my message from a month ago asking to catch up. She said, let me know if you'd still want to meet up sometime. So whatever happened, it didn't work out with the new guy. Maybe she got brokenhearted. Maybe she just went out on a bunch of dates and all those guys turned out to be douchebags. And she thought, maybe I was too harsh with my boyfriend. Plus, he had 6.5 years with her, and they lived together for 2.5 of those years. So he's not a stranger, but he definitely got lazy and complacent and stopped doing the things that made his relationship successful in the first place. He says, she sent this late at night, so I responded the next morning and said, sure, when are you free to get together? And we ended up setting a date for the following Friday night, which she kept. When she came over that night, it was almost as if we had never broken up. We had some wine and made dinner together. We laughed and joked around about old memories, etc., and began teasing each other. One thing I noticed is she got her hair done the way that I always told her would look great on her, and she got spray tan. Obviously, she's seeking his attention and validation. Plus, she wanted to look good for him. So that tells me she was focused on trying to reattract him, because she had plenty of months to think about it, and the grass really wasn't greener on the other side. He says, when I didn't comment on the hair, she specifically asked me, so what do you think of my hair? And she also made it a point to tell me that she had started working out again and she did look great. To me, these were both signs she was trying to impress me and get me to notice her. Absolutely. Then we went to the living room and she asked where she should sit, and I said, sit next to me. She put her legs up on me, and when she rested her head on my chest, we started kissing and passionately making out, having petting, etc. She then proceeded to tell me she was on her period, but we could continue to make out many more times throughout the night. What, no Red Wings, bro? When she eventually got ready to leave, it's as if she waited at the door until I came over and gave her a kiss on the lips. I said it was good catching up and told her to text or call me sometime. Well, as it says in 7 Principles Get an Expect, she was the one that ended it, so therefore she's got to fix it. She's got to do all the pursuing. She's got to earn another chance with him, not the other way around. And remember, when she did reach out a month and a half ago, she just ignored him for a month. So that tells me that some other dude had her attention. But when she came back, now she's working out again. She's got spray tan. She's got her hair done the way he likes. So obviously the feelings have returned. Absence did make the heart grow fonder in this case. He says, what I found odd, however, is that when we started kissing, she started crying slightly. Well, it's because she cares still. She still has feelings for you. And remember, you had 6.5 years to emotionally bond with her, so any dude that she would have met and started talking to, she's just not going to feel that same connection or bond. You have the superior position of leverage between you and her versus any other dude she may have met. She also cried a few times more throughout the night as she was sitting in my arms and cuddling. I asked her what was wrong, and she said she wasn't sure until eventually I got it out of her. She asked if I thought it was weird that we were seeing each other, and I said it's only weird if we make it weird. She then told me that she was surprised I texted her, and I said, I believe you texted me. And she said, yes, but why did you respond and say we should meet up sometime? And I said, well, why did you answer and come over? These are good questions. This is how you respond. Whoever's asking the questions is the one running the relationship. And when you get a question like that, it's always good to follow it up with a question, especially playful ones like that. It's like not giving her a straight answer, but being fun. This is how love is. It's playful and fun. The bottom line is you know and I know that she came back because her feelings returned and she recognized, or she didn't find anybody that pushed her buttons emotionally in those 4 months that she was away. Plus, on top of that, she started taking better care of herself, which is a good thing because physically she's coming back and she's a more attractive version of the woman that you last saw 4 or 5 months before that. So that's a good thing. She didn't really know what to say to this, but eventually she said, maybe I just wanted to see how you were doing. Yes, that's true, but the reality is, the bottom line is she was hoping that there'd be a chance to rekindle things. That's probably why she became emotional. Because she'd been thinking about it for a while, and now there it is. They're in each other's arms kissing, and potentially getting back together is crossing her mind. And maybe there was a period of time where she thought it was impossible. It was over, and she'd screwed it up for good. But at the end of the day, the mindset is here, she's got to earn another chance with you, not the other way around. That's why she has to do all the pursuing. Obviously, there seems to be some mixed signals here. A few days have passed, and I have not heard from her, and I'm kind of surprised. It's the way it goes, dude. You might not hear from her for a couple weeks. Who knows? Maybe the other guy or guys are still in the picture. But you have to let her be present with her feelings and her emotions. Because you did tell her to reach out. And again, she's the one that pushed you away. So therefore, she's got to pull you back. That's why you do not pursue a woman. Because guys that don't know any better, they'll start reaching out and calling and texting and trying to force themselves back into her life. And all it does is drive her into the arms of other dudes. You never try to keep somebody that doesn't want to keep you. And a woman that's pushed you away messed it up. Therefore, she's got to fix it. That's why she has to come to you. That's why she's got to do all the pursuing when she starts to come back, because then it's her idea, and she'll come back to you at her pace. Why did she wait a month and a half to text me back initially? Probably because she was involved with other guys. She just wasn't emotionally ready to see you. Again, probably because there was somebody else she was seeing, but she was starting to recognize it wasn't going to go anywhere. And she was just fishing to see if it's possible to potentially rekindle things. In other words, are you open to rekindling things? And once you invite her to do something, that communicates that you were willing to get together in person and do something fun and casual. But she didn't respond because she wanted to see what was going to happen with whoever she was involved with at the time. And once that seemed to look like it's not going anywhere, or that it's going to end, or it did end, that's when she reached out. Was she really just checking up on me and trying to see how I was doing? She was trying to see if she still had another chance with you, basically. If so, why was she so into kissing me, and why did she cry in my arms? Because she still cares about you, that's why. When she was the one that broke up with me. Well, I've kind of already explained this. Also, why did she put so much effort into her hair and her tan, etc., if she didn't care about my opinion? Because she's trying to attract you. If she didn't care, she'd come over with no makeup and sweatpants and be looking like a bum. But instead, she came over looking hot. Why? Because she wanted you to be attracted to her. That's why. I know you teach the ex has to do 100% of the pursuing after getting dumped, so I will not reach out to her. To me, it seems like she definitely misses the relationship, but it's almost like she won't admit that to herself. Well, you need to go back and start reading the book, number one, because attraction is a process. A woman, it takes time for her to fall in love, which she did 6.5 years ago when you met. It took time. It took a couple months usually. And then it also took time for her to fall out of love to the point where she didn't want to be in a relationship with you anymore. And so when that happens, it also takes time for her to fall back in love. So this is a multi-month process. So stop expecting her to just come back and things just go right back to the way they were, because it's unrealistic. And again, maybe it's been 6-7 years since you read the book, and just these basic questions here and what's in 7 Principles to Get an Ex Back, you really need to fill in your knowledge gap, dude, and really pay attention and learn or relearn the material again so you know it, so you don't screw things up. But it's obvious that there is a chance that she will want to rekindle things with you. But in the meantime, I'd still be dating other women and seeing what else is out there. Because what often happens is when these women do come back, it just seems like all at once you'll get 2 or 3 different women that just, poof, they show up. And then you got choices. You got options. That makes you cocky. That gives you a little extra swagger. Makes you more playful. And most importantly, it gives you way more confidence. So you can do everything right with her and with the other women. And then you'll have choices. And it's always good to have choices instead of just no choice. So if you got a question or challenge and you'd like to get my help, go to understandingrelationships.com, click the products tab at the top of your screen, and book a coaching session with yours truly. Until next time, I will talk to you soon.